You're caught in a parent-child standoff where you've asked your child to do something and they have flat out refused. You can feel your blood starting to boil with anger and the stomach in your knot forming, worrying, how is this going to turn out? This is one of those make or break parenting moments. How will you handle it? I'm Dr. Lindsay, and today I'll share with you 3 steps to successfully navigate this tricky parenting situation. This is one of my favorite topics to cover in my parent coaching program because it's one of the most stressful situations that parents encounter on a daily basis and can be a real challenge if you're trying to use a positive parenting approach that doesn't involve yelling, harsh punishments, or resorting to ineffective phrases like, "because I said so." The 3 steps that I'm about to share with you will help you confidently overcome these standoffs like a parenting pro. At the heart of being a positive parent is choosing to respond rather than react. Taking a moment to be thoughtful in how you interact with your child, parenting with intention, as opposed to getting caught up in the emotions of daily parenting challenges. The easiest way to do this is by getting into the habit of taking a deep breath. So a slow inhale and a slow exhale. And this activates your body's natural calming mechanisms. It helps you to stay calm. And while you're taking that deep breath, and there's kind of a pause in your little interaction there with your child, while you're taking that deep breath, you can say to yourself, respond rather than react. And this also, while telling your body to calm down and reminding you to be thoughtful in how you respond, this also models effective coping skills for your child. By watching you, they're observing, hey, this is a good way to act when somebody does something that I don't love and I feel a little upset. Instead of just talking right back, I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm just going to calm my body for a second and respond rather than react. So the pause gives you a moment to gather your composure and develop a plan. And it gives your child a great learning experience. Take a few deep breaths if needed. Now, when you pause before responding, you give yourself a moment to reconnect with your parenting intentions. How do you want to parent your child? Not just what feels right in the moment. And this allows you to have the best outcome and strengthen your parent-child relationship. Let me know in the comments which parenting situations trigger you the most, where you feel yourself starting to lose your cool, where you could most use this pause to help you respond in an intentional way. Next, when my kids challenge my requests, I always try to take a moment to consider whether my request was A, reasonable, and B, worth the struggle. So there are 2 elements to consider here. The reasonable element, let's think that through. Is this reasonable? Yes, I asked them to turn off their iPad because their 1-hour screen time is over. So yes, it's reasonable to expect them to follow through on that. No, I asked them to clean up their room right now because it struck me as a disaster and I was really motivated to get cleaned up, so it felt like I needed to ask them to do it right away. So sometimes we need to compromise. For example, you might say something like, please have it cleaned up before dinner time. So you're getting the desired outcome, but you're taking the pressure out of it. It doesn't become this parent-child standoff moment. And another thing you can do is to clarify the situation. So sometimes it will be something like, let's say there are toys all over the hallway, and I start to ask one child to clean up this mess because I'm confident it's theirs. And then lo and behold, I learned that it actually was another child who left that mess. So I say, oh, okay. Well, then if that's your brother's mess, then I'll ask him to do it. Don't worry about it. And so we can either compromise or we can clarify and drop the request altogether. But that is a way to check, is it reasonable before moving forward with the consequence? Now, the second point was, is it worth the struggle? So this is where we want to think about picking our battles. If you think about your daily interactions with your child, they're going to fall into 3 categories: negative, neutral, and positive. And if you look back on a single day, a representative day, not when anything really wild was going on, but just a regular day in your parenting, think through what percentage of your interactions with your child fall into each of those 3: negative, neutral, and positive. And your goal should be that no more than 20% or 2 out of every 10 interactions with your child falls into that negative category. You want at least 8 out of 10 or 80% of your interactions to be neutral or positive in nature. And so if you find that you're having more than 20% of your day being these tense negative interactions, then you're picking too many battles. So figure out what is the one main issue for today, or maybe it's a couple of issues, but not 10 issues, right? We can't pick 10 battles every day, or it's going to be way more than 20% of negative interactions. So think about what's most important. Okay, I really need my child to be brushing their teeth. I really need them to do their homework. I really need them to be gentle with siblings. Whatever is salient for you in your household right now, pick those as your most important battles. And for other things that come up, as much as one day you want to get to those, and you will, you pick the big battles now and you get to the smaller ones over time. For right now, if we can't pick those battles and use consequences for those, what can you do instead? And maybe you're offering to help them clean up the room together, saying, oh, hey, your room looks like it's a little messy. I have a little time. How about I help you? And that gets them motivated instead of just saying, I need you to clean up your room before dinner time and putting it all on them. So it's a way to work towards the outcome that you want and to hopefully do it in a collaborative way. So after you've taken that beat to stay calm and collected, you take a moment to think about whether you believe that your consequence is reasonable and worth it. And then if you decide that you do want to push the issue and move on to the third step of actually holding the boundary. So step 3 is the key step where you commit to being a positive parent without being a pushover. This is where you enforce boundaries for your child. Now, sometimes people confuse positive parenting with permissive parenting. So permissive parenting would be more saying, yes, sweetie, whatever you want. Oh, you don't want to do that? That's fine. Oh, you want to keep watching TV? Go ahead. So letting the child run the show and really being a pushover. This parenting style is actually bad for kids because it deprives them of the opportunity to learn healthy boundaries and for them to experience discomfort. And so if they're always getting their way, nobody's ever saying, oh no, it's time to turn off the TV now. They're not experiencing that discomfort and learning things like distress tolerance skills, which are really important for their emotional intelligence. So kids raised by permissive parents tend to be inconsiderate of others' feelings as a result of having had everything that they wanted and not really having to worry about other people. And over time, that can make it really hard for them to socialize effectively and make friends and lasting relationships. They also tend to have a hard time setting healthy limits for themselves. And so that can result in things like having a poor diet, which could have health implications. So it's okay to make your child upset, not just to anger them, but to teach them about societal demands and your own household rules, and just plain how to be a good person. So the best parenting style has 2 elements. It involves providing warmth and acceptance and setting and upholding reasonable limits. And what psychology research tells us is that this is best for kids' behavior as their children in their youth, and also best for their healthy development into becoming happy and successful adults. And there are different ways to enforce boundaries. You might use consequences that involve taking something away, like saying that they lose screen time or a planned fun activity if they haven't done what's been asked of them. Or you might use consequences that involve adding something that they don't like having to do an extra cleaning project or having to do something nice for a sibling that they've wronged in some way. And so you can take away or you can add on with consequences. It depends if you're taking away something that your child likes or if you're adding on something that they don't like. It doesn't really feel great to use consequences. That's why we covered in point 2, really taking a moment to think about, is this a reasonable consequence? Is it a battle that I want to pick? And if it is, and you move forward with a consequence, then it's really helpful to remind yourself of why it's so important to hold boundaries. So it helps your child to feel safe and secure. Reasonable boundaries are designed to teach them. They need to learn what behavior is appropriate so that they can have social success throughout their life. They need to learn what behavior is acceptable. So it makes you the loving authority figure in the relationship where you can help teach them what's acceptable and what's not. And they need to learn that your words are respected. So it means fewer parent-child standoff moments in the long run. Now, if you have too many boundaries, going back to that 80-20 rule, if you have too many boundaries, it stifles their independence and their autonomy. So you need to find the right balance. Now, holding boundaries is one of the toughest yet most important parts of positive parenting. And when consistently done in a warm and supportive way, It helps you raise amazing kids who have loving, respectful relationships with their parents. There is one critical mistake that parents often make with regard to upholding boundaries, and I cover that in my next video. Keep up the good work on your amazing parenting journey.